Alright lads, so the end of month banner is getting announced tomorrow morning. We are going to talk about it later today, but the banner announcement isn't the only thing happening tomorrow because we are getting the return of SOI FON, TOSHIRO, and also SAJIN, the part 2 to the 9th anniversary. Lucky for us, every time a banner does happen like this, we always say wait to see what the next banner is before summoning. This time you won't have to because like I just mentioned, when this banner does release, we are going to know what end of month is. In fact, you could pull an end of month and this banner will still be here. So when end of month does get announced tomorrow, if you aren't interested in that, but you also want these characters, if you feel like these characters will better your account, then it might be worth pulling on this over the upcoming end of month banner. What makes this even better is that the filler pool for these characters, it's not the worst. I actually do like it. Of course, it's featuring the 3 new characters, but alongside that, we have Senjumaru, an amazing farmer when it comes to farming power links or potions, super links or potions, and also droplets. Yamamoto is still a pretty good character. Lige got a good resurrection, and Aizen's a pretty good link. Basby and Asuka are kind of just okay. When compared to the original banner, there are 3 less fillers here, so technically this banner is better when it comes to the guaranteed steps, because step 5, 10, 15, and 20 are guaranteed 5 stars. A featured character, so you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting the character you want, assuming you're going for Toshiro, SOI FON, and also SAJIN. It's worth noting though, since the anime is currently airing, step 25 will let you pick SOI FON, SAJIN, or Toshiro if you do make it all that way. Now, in terms of how good these returning characters are, they are still the best in what they want to be used in, and are still some of the more fun characters in the entire game. So Toshiro is a hot Soriba captain with the Stamritter killer and also no affiliation killer. In an era where every character is getting killer plus, in a way that could hurt Toshiro, because when he has killer compared to some of these newer characters, he is going to have 20% less damage as far as killer damage is concerned. However, he does stand out to a certain extent because he does have 2 killers. As far as the 9th anniversary does go, he was the only SP unit to be given 2 killers, and that does further increase his usability. The way this character plays out is that he's all about inflicting freeze damage. So he has Frenzy plus 2 upon inflicting a stat ailment, which in this case is freeze, where he does have an increased chance against Quincy's and no affiliation enemies. He will then be getting an 80% spiritual pressure boost. Alongside that, you will then also be doing 140% more damage to these frozen enemies. 100% comes to the damage to frozen skill, and the other 40% comes from a team party buff that he can give to your entire team if anyone is a hard Soriba. And there are good hard Soribas out there, namely True Shiga Ichigo, that can benefit from buffs like this. That's not all though, because he does have a 50% Berserker and some other good utility effects like weaken defense, long shred, and also complete status immunity. This basically ensures that he's going to be hitting very hard. He's going to be hitting very hard, but especially once you do inflict freeze, you're then doing insane levels of damage. His strong attack kit's actually very good. His SA2 is traditionally a strong attack 3, grouping all the enemies in together, increasing the chance you actually inflict freeze, especially if you are up against an enemy that isn't a no affiliation or a Quincy enemy where you won't get that increased chance. Furthermore, he was one of the few characters that started off the trend of having EX attacks, and his EX attack in particular is a vortex around him. It hits a lot of times, has a very high chance of inflicting freeze, but also can deal further additional damage. In Guild Quest content, it means you can trap the enemy in place, likely freeze them, where you would then be doing significantly more damage. Overall, one of the best characters in the game, one of the best hard characters in the entire game, one of the best characters in the entire game, and it's a really cool looking form of Toshiro since it is his hollow bar. He makes for a super enjoyable character, super useful too given his 2 killers. If you are looking for a hard character, but more specifically a potential new lead for the no affiliation and Stamritter Guild Quest, especially the Stamritter Guild Quest where he's the only lead that you can use, he's definitely going to stand out amongst the other characters in your books if you do actually pull him. And the same can be said for SOI FON. To some, might be one of the more enjoyable characters of the entire year because of the way she was designed. And she was almost set up to fail, but in actuality, in gameplay, she's actually very powerful. But what do I mean by that? Well, we'll talk about that in a second. SOI FON though is a power Soriba captain with the human killer plus ability. In terms of skills that she does have here, she has a 60% Berserker, Frenzy plus 2. When you do inflict a stat ailment, you'll get an 80% spiritual pressure boost. And of course, like with any character, she does have an increased chance to inflict stat ailments only against humans. However, it is worth noting that her strong attacks can inflict weakening paralysis, which is easily one of the more broken status element combinations in the entire game, stopping the enemy in place, stopping them from dealing damage to you, and then you're able to do 50% more damage. And that damage alone will be good enough, but alongside that, she does have a 20% full stamina damage increase, and then she has 3 enemies defeated bonuses. After 20 kills, she'll get a 20% stamina recovery for your entire team. After 40 kills, she'll get an additional 30% more damage at full stamina, and after 60 kills, she'll get a strong attack recharge 20% skill, she'll get a team party buff where she reduces the strong attack cooldown of your entire team by 20% every time you move into another map. And that is for any character regardless of attribute or affiliation. In Limit Breaker content, that could mean that she's going to be a very good character in slot 3, reducing the strong attacks for all your characters so when they are next available, all their strong attacks are good to go. But this also does help her out in general content, as she does have a strong attack 2 that is a boost attack, which does have a longer than usual cooldown, but it is increasing her stats, letting her do more damage, and with that 20% recharge in between stages, with the fact that when you are at full stamina, she gets an additional 6% recharge. And keep in mind, her source rate is 14%, so she has a 20% recharge overall, one of the highest in the entire game, and that makes sure that when you are playing with this character, and you are going to be fast because she does have 2 flash steps with long stride, and remember, SOI FON already has naturally more flash steps than any other character in the game, so she's going to be super fast, where that extra recharge in between stages and the 20% that she has built in really does come in handy, and you almost never notice the fact that your SA2 has a longer than usual cooldown. In gameplay too, she has very good strong attacks, especially with that SA1, which is a lunge forward but it has a very good range to it. It was a strong attack 1 that we hadn't seen used in like 5+ years, and that strong attack 1 makes a massive difference for the character. If she didn't have it, she'd be significantly worse. Likewise though, it's definitely worth mentioning, she also does have an EX move, similar to Toshiro. She was one of the first characters to be given this attack, and her one's actually very fun. It just lunges her forward across the map, has crazy range to it. In some cases, it might not be the most practical attack, but as always, it's an additional attack. The character's base strong attacks and skill set is already good enough. You can always look as an EX move as an extra attack that sometimes is good, sometimes not. It's worth mentioning though that she does have one big problem with this character's kit, and that is the fact that she is lacking guard break. So against certain enemies, that very first hit would have to break the enemy's guard before you can deal more damage, and that does lower her damage output by a tad bit. But in actuality, if you play with this character, you'll realize that the guard break doesn't make that much of a difference, besides maybe when you use your EX attack. She definitely would have been significantly better had she been given guard break, but for those that did pull her, you know it doesn't make that much of a difference, and she makes for a very enjoyable character. Like I mentioned, some would say one of the more fun characters in the entire game, especially if you are a SOI FON fan. Our last returning character is going to be SAJIN, and he's going to be the Brave Battle character of the banner. A Mind Swiper captain with the Stun Rotor and also Captain Kill ability. He's a character that you mainly want to use in Brave Battles to counter any Yamamotos, Yuha bugs, and also Meninas. His damage output's going to be very good, as he does have Flurry +3. Under half stamina, he gets 60% more normal attack damage, and he has all the Brave Battle skills that you want. He can prevent last ditch survival, he can go for invincibility, he has invincibility. Most importantly though, he also does have persistence, so when this character is defeated, he will be immortal for 5 more seconds. That of course gives him the advantage against any other non-persistence unit, but puts him on the same playing field against any other persistence unit. The main reason why you would want to use this character though in Brave Battles is the fact that he does block any Heart and Mind characters, boost, and also debuffs. So like I mentioned, Yuha Buck and also Yamamoto. Yamamoto can debuff, Yuha Buck can boost, so if you are going against them on the opponent's team and you have SAJIN, he basically invalidates their existence, and he's definitely going to win on a 1v1. And depending on your team, that can give yourself the advantage. Let you get the stat boost, rob them of that stat boost, and then SAJIN will likely take them down, turning the match into a 3v2. I would say overall, in terms of Brave Battle meta standpoint, SAJIN isn't better than Renji or Orihime, but SAJIN has that role to be filled, and there's still plenty of Yamamoto and Yuhas running around. So even myself, when I have like a max transcended Renji, max transcended Orihime, I still find myself taking out SAJIN from time to time to deal with those stray Yuhas and also Yamamotos. Overall, still a great character when it comes to Brave Battle content. And that's it for the 3 main returning characters, but let's quickly go over the filler characters. So in this case, Senjumaru, like I mentioned, is going to be very good for link swap farming. She is one of the best, if not the best farmer in the entire game. By using her, you're getting 5 additional super link swap potions, and 10 extra droplets, with the fact actually that you do increase the droplet drop rate by 30%. So essentially, she has it all. In Links or Trials, it means you're increasing all 3 items there, but by far the best part about Senjumaru is the strong attacks that she does have: a beam into a distant AoE into a full screen. As a farmer, you really can't get a better strong attack kit than that, especially with the fact that she has Frenzy +2, 100% more damage to enemies that aren't inflicted with a status summon, and also Iron Skin, so you go through the effect that can slow you down in Links or Trials. If you have her, she makes Links or Trials super trivial. You're able to easily clear in under a minute, potentially in less than 40 seconds. 50 seconds at 1 out of 5. With her, you won't need any other farming character in the game as far as speed characters are concerned. Yamamoto's damage output is definitely starting to show its age a tad bit, but he's still a really fun character and a super cool character too. In terms of damage output, he has Frenzy +1, an 80% spiritual pressure boost, and once you do inflict a stat as Summon, you'll be doing 80% more damage to burn and also weakened enemies. And remember too, weakening itself does let you do 50% more damage. He has a great strong attack kit, similar to Senjumaru. It's a beam in front of him. His SA2 is the distant AoE into a tracking vortex, and then his SA3 is a full screen. Visually, I think this character still looks great, and he's also the last of our manga characters. He was one of the most broken characters in the game at the release of his character during the 7th anniversary, and still holds up relatively well. Damage output definitely is an issue with this character, and that's why you want more duplicates of him, but he still makes for a fun, enjoyable character, especially if you are a Yamamoto fan. Right now, this is the most usable and best Yamamoto in the entire game. But here's hoping we get a remake of this character sometime in the future with the new anime art style. Leijie is quite the old character, so it's kind of understandable that he's not really the greatest. However, when it comes to his resurrection, it did give him more damage to enemies not deflected by an element, with the fact that he cannot pierce Iron Skin. So this makes him a decent character to use in Linkshot Trials. However, since we did get the update where we're no longer going against Inheritance Trials, and now we're only going against Linkshot Trials is inherently easier, so that kind of lessens the need for someone like Leijie. Instead, you can just use your best power character. So Leijie is kind of like in a weird spot. He got a good resurrection, and it makes him really good in Linkshot Trials, but he doesn't increase the drop rate for Linkshot Potions, Super Linkshot Potions, and or droplets. Still a cool character though. If you are a Leijie fan, you can definitely make him work. As far as resurrections do go, he got one of the better ones. Basby also got a pretty good resurrection. He got guard break, more damage to burning enemies with a spiritual pressure boost. It makes him usable, but again, still compared to newer characters, damage output is lacking. Arskin doesn't really have much going for him. He's a Brave Battle unit that didn't get a Brave Battle upgrade. The skills that he did get upon resurrecting were more so for guild quests. Aizen is a pretty decent link for any mind character. The character itself, again, isn't really the greatest, but he has a cool, unique effect on his strong attack 3, as it is a 20+ second charge strong attack, where he enchants all of Kurohitsuki. And that's basically the banner as a whole. Again, I do like it. I think, unironically, to a certain extent, this is actually better than the first time it was here, mainly due to the fact that we are getting less fillers here, so on the guaranteed chance, you have a better chance of getting the character you want, Toshiro, SAJIN, or also SOI FON. And I really do like the fact that Senjumaru is here as a first-time filler alongside Yamamoto. Like I mentioned, I think the best part about this banner is that it is coming out tomorrow. So when the end of month banner is announced, you'll know what end of month is, so you can make the easy decision then and there whether you want to pull for these characters or if you want to pull for end of month. I think the banner isn't bad if you're missing all 3 of these characters. If you started after the 9th anniversary, I would say at least do 5 to 10 steps if you're new and you don't have any of these characters. Because SOI FON, Toshiro, and SAJIN are still great. Yamamoto and Senjumaru are good to have still. And assuming you did start after the 9th anniversary, likely you still have thousands upon thousands of orbs to gather up. Even though end of year is only a month away at this point, you should still be able to gather up some orbs. And the same thing goes for veterans. Those that maybe have a limited orb source, the banner's still worth pulling for if you are missing them. They are still some of the best characters in the entire game, but do make sure to manage your orb sources so you have still some stuff for end of year. Because while these characters are going to be worth it, and they're going to be great to have, you're still going to want to summon for end of year, wherever that might be. Overall, I think it's a decent banner. Let me know your summon plans in the console below. For me, my main and alt account will be skipping, but like I said, if I had an account that didn't have any of these characters, I definitely would be doing at least 5 to 10 steps. But as always, spend within reason. Don't go too overboard unless you are massive fans of SOI FON, Tosho, and SAJIN. If you are, then you gotta do what you gotta do. But with that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Take care, and peace.